Welcome back to a brand new No BS crypto news video where I bring you crypto news every single day in the most no BS kind of way. Now, today we have some very big Bitcoin ETF update news. I just want to get straight into that topic. It will be the main premise of today's news video. Now, we do have some predictions from two very reputable people in specifically the Bitcoin ETF space. They're going to weigh in on what they believe will actually happen on the day of the event, which is about 7 to 8 days away from the time of recording. So you are going to want to pay attention very closely, whether you're a trader or an investor, anything under the sun relating to crypto, you can take advantage with this news. This is single-handedly the biggest news that crypto has ever had. So you're going to want to be glued in, tuned in, and paying full attention. A very quick general look at the market. Bitcoin is up 7%, just under $46,000. ETH is up as well. Other altcoins are flying as well. It's really, really good to see. Now have a look at the top gainers and losers of the day. Sai is at number one spot, followed by A-Star, Wemix, Mina, Sui, Stacks. The list goes on. Interestingly, HBAR is almost at 10 cents. I'm really excited about that. Again, most of these altcoins are up. Solana back at $115 basically. Interestingly, we have very little losers of the day, and these losers themselves are ever so slightly in the red on the last 24 hours. So this is probably the most green we've seen it, and I believe, and as we'll see in a second here, likely all of this is in anticipation for the actual Bitcoin news itself. Again, we're about a week away from this actually being fully announced. So buckle yourselves in and get ready. Now, the first bit of news today, I do want to touch on Teller, which was a project we actually spoke about yesterday. Had this massive spike and then instant crash. On the hourly chart, it just went from about $650 way down to $190. Literally insane. And this article here talks about it today, right? It just come out and speaks about the potential hazards and why this possibly happened. We spoke about this yesterday in yesterday's news, which is why it is so important. If you do want to keep up to speed in crypto with the news, you are subscribed with the bell on. It's just simple as that. So they said the Teller team had transferred 4,200 TRB tokens worth roughly 2.4 million at the time of this particular event to a Coinbase wallet just as the price had spiked. Meanwhile, the sudden drop in the price of Teller caused many more than $68 million in liquidations. 95% of the circulating supply as well, which is what we said yesterday, is actually in the hands of 20 whale wallets, which is very centralized. The article spoke about that this event here was quite obviously, whales or an inside sort of thing. Something sus has happened here with Teller. So again, this is why it's very important you have those metrics and you do check before you invest, especially if you are someone catching the FOMO feeling at the top. Okay, so with that said, let's get into the main topic. So Bitcoin ETF launched may be a letdown, but could attract trillions over time. Investors may be disappointed by the initial performance of spot Bitcoin ETFs, but don't underestimate their impact over long term, says VanEck advisor Gabriel Gerbach. The launch of spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds won't likely have much of an impact on Bitcoin initially. They could eventually bring in trillions of dollars to the cryptocurrency sector, says Mr. Gerbach. Now, for those who don't know Gerbach, again, he is an advisor over at VanEck. And if you don't know VanEck, I've spoken about them probably a little too much over the last few weeks here. They had 15 predictions for cryptocurrency in 2024. One of the things they made very apparent was that the Bitcoin ETFs won't actually have a lot of money come through straight away. They predicted like $40 billion of inflows over the next 2 years, and I think $1 or $2 billion over the first couple of weeks of them actually being approved and online. And of course, Mr. Gerbach over here kind of agrees with that. Of course, he is from VanEck, or at least an advisor of such. So he says, in my view, people tend to overestimate the initial impact of the Bitcoin ETFs. I think maybe a few $100 million, mostly recycled money, will enter straight away. Recycled money, of course, being already people involved in the cryptocurrency space looking to get in straight away. But he makes a very interesting connection that VanEck themselves also put out in their 15 prediction statement, relating back to gold and how gold actually worked when State Street had their gold ETF that was introduced in 2004. So he said this was based on gold's outcome. In the subsequent 8 years after the approval, gold's price quadrupled from $400 to $1,800, adding $8 trillion in the market cap, from $2 trillion to $8 trillion. He says, furthermore, the ETF itself will legitimize and destigmatize Bitcoin's place in portfolios, leading to further adoption outside the ETF. Now, that I 100% agree with. I think that there is a big sort of stigmatization with Bitcoin and the fact that it's like this digital money you can't really touch and it's not really tangible, which is a big fallacy, of course, and also the fact that it's related to scams and I guess the dark web. But this is going to help in that case. But this is the chart he's referring to here with gold and the blue line, which is the 10-year US Treasury rate. You can see here when it was approved that, again, we had a massive influx in the price of gold, okay, which is what is expected with Bitcoin. But he actually goes one step further here, and he thinks that it's going to happen even faster with Bitcoin because it's got a reduced supply and there is a scarcity event that happens every 4 years, which is a Bitcoin halving, okay? So he thinks it's going to be even more than that. So we could see trillions come in over the next 10 to 15 years, which again, I strongly do believe with. I side with him, and my interpretation of the whole Bitcoin ETFs and what it actually might happen on the day changed dramatically from what I was a few months ago when I read their article on it and when they kind of made the association between how gold reacted initially and how Bitcoin will react. The thing with gold and Bitcoin is gold is just, it's been this stood the test of time, right? Gold has been gold forever and it's been used for the longest time. And so in 2004, there wasn't this stigmatization with it. There wasn't this sort of, like what Bitcoin's known for, basically, again, this sort of scammer, dark web type money. So I think I would completely agree that it might be slower off the mark, but in the long term, once people get familiarized and that destigmatization happens, it'll probably far exceed gold's growth as well. So James Seffert also weighed in on this as well. If you don't know James Seffert, I've again covered him probably too much on the channel. He's been kind of my main point of contact with the updates relating to all these Bitcoin ETFs from all 13 issuers. Himself is actually Bloomberg ETF analyst, so he's well and truly qualified to be giving his input in this, which is why I relate back to his comments so much. He says mostly in agreement to Mr. Gerbach, with the consensus seeming to be anecdotal because people are focused on massive short-term impacts that he believes could be a bit of a letdown, while at the same time not fully appreciating the potential longer-term impacts. Again, people are overestimating the short-term impacts, underestimating the long-term impacts. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I think my time horizons are quite realistic. Again, I do agree with both of these gentlemen over here. So if you're someone who basically is only holding off for these ETFs as getting your final positions in, and I know some of the people in my community are, I don't think, not financial advice, that is the best thing. It's unfortunate, and I wish we could go back time and buy ICP at $2.90 and buy Render at $1 and buy HBAR at 5 cents again. I wish, and I really wish for you as well. But that's likely not going to happen, not even close. This isn't going to be a black swan event. We may have a retracement in the price of Bitcoin and the global market cap upon the news not being as successful. I think that people are going to come into crypto or be ready in crypto, and just pretty much the hype will be only pushed up by the hype. And once people are like, oh my God, Bitcoin isn't up 20, 30, 40%. Been a month. What's happened? We're going to probably find the price reacting a different way. But maybe as well, people are already anticipating that to happen, so they're not going to be as scared when the price falls. It is hard to know because we are so much more developed since the last cycle's psychology. I think a lot of people are a lot wiser. You have a lot of the market back then in the same position I and many others are as well. We're not doing those same stupid mistakes. We have a lot of new money as well. So with that being said, I want to finish up with this topic over here and just bring up, these are the 2 points I'm looking at here. This is the global market cap from the current price, or at least market cap size at 1.7 trillion. I wouldn't be surprised if we fell at the level of support down here at 1.5 trillion. That's an 11% drop from where we are right now. Keep in mind, we are extended. This was about a 5% drop, literally a day or two ago. And I can also see us falling to the next level of support, which would be about 1.37 trillion. Now we have, of course, the ETFs wave 1. We also have a wave 2 coming in about March. So pay attention to that. That'll be around about here. And then, of course, we have the other event being the Bitcoin halving as well. Typically, the Bitcoin halving does see us retrace slightly. There is arguments to be made for and against it happening again. So just, again, the next 3 to 4 months here, likely we could be a bit choppy. So if you are someone who has some positions you want to get into, you might have a good chance. Just, unfortunately, never as good a chance as we had 3 months ago. But in any case, whatever your situation and outlook is, please, I hope you do have a very prosperous 2025. And if you follow the information on this channel, you most definitely will capitalize. So with that said, I look forward to talking to you all very soon. Have a great day.